There are many videos and write-up about ISO 50001-2018. The original standard, written in over 13 pages, is now over 18 pages long. Is it as good as it is hyped up to be? In this video, we'll be casting a critical eye to see if there are any areas where it did worst. As a reminder, this is how the new standard is structured. There's a section on context of the organization, leadership, planning, support, operations, performance evaluation, and improvement. If you are new to the standard, or if you'd like a refresher on how the standard works, please click on the link in the top right hand corner. The same link is also in the descriptions below. If you'd like to see a comparison between the similarities and the changes between the standard, please also click on the link. I believe there are 6 areas where the standard has failed to live up to its predecessors. At the heart of the problem is the way in which the standard was revised. It called for consensus, where each participating country has 1 vote. On paper, this is a fair system. However, this system can be easily defaulted. To demonstrate, let's look at the spread of ISO 50001 certified users globally. There's 9 countries, primarily in Europe, plus China and India, contributed over 80% of the users in the world. This is where you will find a focus and concentration of people and organization who understands the standard, who implements a good energy management system, and continually learn from it. The remainder of the users, nearly 20% of it, is spread across 83 countries. As you can see, the learnings from these 9 countries can very easily be outvoted by the others. In addition, the standard was led by a country in the others category. This country also have a lot of resources to send people to meetings, and they also send a lot of their energy management expertise to developing countries, thus shaping the image of energy management globally in their own image. As such, what we really understand as consensus, i.e. a general agreement, really is about he, she, or a group of people who shouts the loudest and the longest. This leads to poor standardization of best practice. The next problem is that the ISO writers are primarily energy management experts. They are university professors, consultants, and service providers. They are not users of a standard, nor do they have leadership, strategy, business processes, or operational experience. As such, they don't really get the true meaning and power of a management system and how it is integral to a real-life organization. The evidence is in the specification of context of the organization and leadership commitment, because the requirements and the guidance around these issues are notably weak. There's also a constant repetition of the phrase improving energy performance and energy management system throughout the entire standard. Now, this shows the poor understanding of the inner workings of a management system. ISO 50001 is about organizations using an energy management system to improve its energy performance. And this means reducing energy use, reducing consumption, and increasing energy efficiency. It has a written aim and purpose to improve energy performance. Organizations wanting to implement an energy management system need to define objectives to improve energy performance and then take the appropriate action to deliver that result. If you do not achieve your objective, then your management system is not effective, and that is a non-conformity. As such, there's actually no need to constantly repeat the phrase improving energy performance and energy management system. The next problem is that ISO 50001 do not fully align with ISO's high-level structure. To explain this, we need to look at the structure of the standard. Now, 50001 uses the concept of target in the context of objective and target. The other standards don't. So if you're using ISO 50001 and the other standards, for example, ISO 9001 or 14000 or 45 or 55001, then you need to have objectives and targets for 50001. For the rest, you only need objectives. Another example is that ISO 50001 calls for an energy management team. The other standards do not call for a team. Organizations define the roles, responsibilities, and authorities provided and distribute the roles, responsibilities, and authorities as they see fit. In 50001, you need to have a team. Another example is in the performance evaluation, specifically 9.1, monitoring, measurement, analyses, and evaluation of energy performance and the energy management system. This clause has three parts. You need to define what is the appropriate performance indicator. You need to do measurements of data, and then you need to analyze the data. However, the defined portion of the standard is located elsewhere, specifically 6.4 and 6.6. As such, implementing multiple standards become problematic. You now first need to identify what are the differences, lift them out, and implement them independently from an integrated management structure. Now, this really defeats the intent of a common structure, common terms and definition, and a common text developed by ISO. The next problem is that ISO 50001 do not naturally fit into a PDCA cycle. However, standards writers have a tendency to hammer everything into a plan, do, check, and act. Now, to illustrate this, let's look at the clauses again. Standards writer call clause 6 plan, clause 7 and 8 do, clause 9 checked, and clause 10 act. And we've just seen an interesting dilemma where part of clause 9.1 is actually in clause 6.4 and 6.6. So how can you have part of check in planning, and how can you have part of planning in check and still call it a plan, do, check, and act cycle? The second thing is, what do we call context of the organization and leadership? How does it fit into a plan, do, check, and act cycle? Lastly, the concept of continual improvement. It doesn't really fit in act clauses, because continual improvement is about reviewing what we have and renewing our efforts. It doesn't really fit into non-conformity and corrective action or part of the improvement. As such, companies that do not use PDCAs will end up having a need to implement PDCA specifically for ISO 50001 or they have to remap everything into their own framework and risk having the auditors saying they are not implementing PDCA. The next problem is that ISO 50001 have many repeating terms and confusing definitions. Let's look at some examples. We have energy, we have management system, and energy management system. We have a term for energy, a term for policy, and a term for energy policy. Same goes for energy performance and a whole raft of other terms such as energy performance indicator, energy performance indicator value, energy performance improvement, and continual improvement. The problem really isn't about the numerous terms and definitions, but it makes the standard longer and it makes it easier to introduce errors and inconsistencies. It also makes it more difficult and more tedious when checking for errors, inconsistencies, and integrity of the standard. So let's look at an example. This is a simple two-sentence clause, continual improvement. We'll look at the first sentence. The organization shall continually improve the suitability, adequacy, and effectiveness of the energy management system. Based on what we know so far, the intended outcome of an energy management system is to improve energy performance. An effective energy management system is one that achieves its objective. This standard basically tells us they want a recurring action to renew energy management systems effort. Now let's look at the second sentence. The organization shall demonstrate continual energy performance improvement. Hang on a minute. This is a subset of energy management system and it's a repeat. It is actually redundant. In addition, there's a problem when interpreting the phrase continual energy performance improvement. Is this continual improvement of energy performance, or is it continual and energy performance improvement? Because continual improvement, energy performance, and energy performance improvements are defined terms. However, continual energy performance improvement is not. And if we use the defined definition, continual energy performance improvement means nothing. Lastly, ISO 50001 rewrote many clauses without material changes or improvements. A good example is clause 6.3 energy review, where it went from 3 sets of bullet points to 5 sets of bullet points without any changes in requirements, corrections, or improvement in its clarity. So back to our question at hand, is ISO 50001 a better standard? Is it worth the extra 5 pages it is written on? The 6 collective reasons made the standard much longer, and it has introduced many errors in its interpretation. The leadership and voting system allowed for a poorer best practice to be standardized. On the other hand, the saving grace for 50001 is the need for organizations to align energy performance improvement projects and initiatives with its business strategy, and the need to integrate energy performance improvement into its business processes. These are 2 things that is significantly lacking in the current energy management practice. However, this is not a change by ISO 50001 writers, but those listed in the high-level structure itself. So I hope you found this video informative. Please do give it a thumbs up. Please also subscribe to the channel to be notified of new video content. I'll see you in the next video.